Elementary educators, this is where it happens, my friends. The more work we can do at the elementary level, breaking down the gender binary, getting rid of girls and boys, and there's so much work that can happen, and we're going to have some of those conversations today.
My plethora of queer flags that I have in my classroom.
And the truth is that we know that kids are coming out at younger and younger ages, and gender is, sexuality as well, but especially looking at gender, we have kids as early as 2-3 years of age. I always tell tenured teachers, you're going to have more longevity making change if you maybe play it a little safer for a little longer. Who knows if on Monday I'm going to come in and I'm going to be told to take down the flag, but I will do what Sarah did in Connecticut and not do so. Thank God for tenure. Lean on your tenured colleagues to do some of this work because we need you.
Because they all have TikTok, they all have Instagram where they have to put their pronouns now. They're all used to it. So it's really, unfortunately, I think it's the parents.
So this would be a great vehicle, I think, to do DEI work.
Does your school have a DEI program?
No, we have a district-wide DEI committee.
There are people who think that we have absolutely no business talking about DEI work in school. I teach biology. I don't teach kids how to be, more tolerant. I don't teach kids to accept transgender people. From my perspective, that's working against what we're talking about.
During Project Veritas's 5-month undercover investigation into EdCamp, culminating in the LGBT Teach session earlier this month, Long Island, New York emerged as an epicenter for using the classroom to promote gender ideology to children. Throughout the investigation, we had the chance to speak with some of the organizers themselves. Meet Alyssa Waters, a Spanish and social justice teacher who is also the founder of LGBTeach.org. Her mission states, quote, "Getting comfortable with discomfort is at the core of LGBT philosophy."
I'm Alyssa Waters. I'm a middle school teacher at Jericho Middle School. I teach Spanish and social justice. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm also a social worker, and a lot of my practice is working with LGBTQ youth and their families. I particularly love working with families and helping them, practicing, affirmation through their children's journeys of sexuality and gender, besides my plethora of queer flags that I have in my classroom. So I was told that in Connecticut, language teachers are allowed to keep those flags up. But the progress flag in particular was attacked, and that was especially concerning because the progress flag, the goal behind it was to actually bring more inclusivity to a marginalized community. So by adding stripes for trans and gender nonconforming people as well as people of color.
Even though I'm not an elementary level educator, it's probably my favorite group to work with, working with staff and admin, because if we could actually do more of this conversation with elementary age kids, by the time they get to me in middle school or some of you in high school, we'll be in a better place. Because honestly, so many of the isms and obias surrounding gender and sexuality really have to do with gender. So when kids walk in the room on day one, what name do they go by? When they have them write a quick little narrative, and in the story write a third-person narrative about themselves, and you see what pronouns they use to talk about themselves. And they're like, oh, but then we're going to lose so much time on curriculum. You never lose time on curriculum if you're doing what's best for kids. And the truth is that we know that kids are coming out at younger and younger ages, and gender is, sexuality as well, but especially looking at gender, we have kids as early as 2-3 years of age. Who knows if on Monday I'm going to come in and I'm going to be told to take down the flag, but I will do what Sarah did in Connecticut and not do so. Thank God for tenure, right?
According to New York state law, teachers achieve tenure usually after working 4 years, meaning they cannot be disciplined or terminated without due process for reasons other than failure to complete the requirements of their professional certificates.
Are any of you untenured? Yeah. So the one thing I am going to say, so I'm going to tell you at my ed camp years ago, and hopefully we'll be running one soon, I always tell untenured teachers, you're going to have more longevity making change if you maybe play it a little safer for a little longer. Lean on your tenured colleagues to do some of this work because we need you. But if anything happens to you right now, then what? So I always say, and I'm not saying don't do the work, but do it with caution, because if you're sitting here right now, it means in 3 to 4 years when you get that tenure seat, then you can do even more work.
This year, because of the climate and everything, we started to greet the students at the door on the first day of school and have them introduce themselves to us. And that's when they'll tell us their name and their pronouns. And I had a bunch of students tell me that they prefer pronouns that are not necessarily what is matching on the campus, which is great. So, and this year, 0 calls, 0 complaints. So again, the kids, they don't mind. I think they're used to it because they all have TikTok, they all have Instagram where they have to put their pronouns now. They're all used to it. So it's really, unfortunately, I think it's the parents.
That I have a lot of students with autism who are very rigid in blue is for boys, pink is for girls. We do like, a wacky Wednesday or a turn around Tuesday where we all switch colors and making sure that I'm making conscious decisions to every boy is getting something pink and every girl is getting something blue. I am a female or I am a girl, and so girls don't have to wear dresses, but look, my character is a boy and he's wearing a dress, and like that's okay. And kind of like introducing that, I mean, every time it's like their mind is just blown.
Top administrators throughout Long Island stress the importance of pushing DEI work during these EdCamp seminars, specifically at the elementary school level.
Elementary educators, this is where it happens, my friends. The more work we can do at the elementary level, breaking down the gender binary, getting rid of girls and boys and colors that match girls and boys and all of that stuff, you'll make my life as a middle level educator a lot easier, but it really is. There's so much work that can happen. And
one of which, Dr. Don Gately of the Manhasset School District, is an assistant superintendent and the founder of EdCamp Long Island.
So this would be a great vehicle, I think, to do DEI work.
Yes, absolutely. Like, does your school have a DEI program?
We have a district-wide DEI committee. If you are a social worker at Fordham, you can really push DEI work. If you're a teacher now, you've got kids with parents, some of whom are extremely conservative and right-wing.
Right.
Now you're going to have people they're going to connect politics to DEI work, and the purity that you feel about DEI work now gets complicated and pushed back on. I have to calibrate my approach to diversity, equity, and through that lens.
Right.
My kids haven't helped anybody. I think 2 weeks from now I'm fired because I go back and say, I went to EdCamp and I'm so fired up about DEI work. We've got to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh great, well they're out. You're out.
Right.
I'll say one thing about Alyssa that I will say is different from perhaps every other person I've worked. She lives that activism and that purpose every minute of every day.
It's a true story. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I hope that you guys aren't letting these types of people slip through the cracks.
Yeah. So that's our mission. Right? We brought in speakers who taught kids how to be anti-racist. And kind of define what does it mean to be an anti-racist. And parents, you're indoctrinating my child. You don't believe in being anti-racist. There are people who think that we have absolutely no business talking about DEI work in school. I teach biology. I don't teach kids how to be more tolerant. I don't teach kids to accept transgender people. I teach kids biology.
Yeah.
There are people like that. And from my perspective, that's working against what we're talking about.
Right.
That speaker who we had, that anti-racist speaker said, you're either racist or you're anti-racist.
Right.
There's no in between. If you're not doing anti-racist work, then you are contributing to racial hate.
Right.